Our pace of living leaves us little time for leisure. Our program will give you a chance to experience the fascinating world of traveling, extreme adventures, hunting and fishing. Each week, we will take you to the most beautiful places of Kazakhstan. Today we head for the Katon-Karagai National Park. Maxim Levitin and Janat Suleimanov with the park inspectors will set trail cameras and check them during the forthcoming week in one of the wildest and most remote corners of our country on the ridge of southern Altai, situated at the borders of Kazakhstan, Russia and China. Kazakhstan does not have a common border with Mongolia, but if you climb to the highest mount of Altai, Mount Belukha, you can have a good view of the Ukhok Plateau and the territory of Mongolia. This area is located nearby. The scientific department of the national park is part of the international scientific program that has been using trail cameras to monitor the wild animals of the Sayan Altai ecoregion. In this trans-border ecological program, specially protected terrains of the 4 neighboring countries are involved. The Katon-Karagai National Park was founded due to the initiative of the state in 2001 to save, protect and study the unique landscapes of southern Altai. In 2014, the region was included in the list of the protected heritage of the UNESCO. International organizations are concerned with the state of southern Altai not because of its fascinating landscape. The place has a global ecological significance. In the heart of the Asian continent, at the crossing point of geological formations, the biological diversity is particularly abundant. Here, the national habitats of Siberian and Central Asian animal species often cross over. The Katon-Karagai National Park is the largest specially protected territory in the Republic of Kazakhstan, with the area of 643,000 hectares. In one of the early mornings in July, our small expedition sets off for the regional center of Katon-Karagai.
Мы проехали около 200 километров, ландшафты изменились.
We have covered about 200 kilometers. The landscape has changed. The desert turned to low foothills. We have 50 kilometers left to reach Kuchum. The road dodges across the stone desert by the foot of the Kuchum ridge. Despite the early time, hot desert wind blows against the windscreen of our car. The desert vegetation is sunburned and dry. Visitors to the place stop near a spring by the road to get some fresh drinking water. In a short time, there is a queue of people waiting for their turn to get the water. As we are getting closer to Kuchum, the desert is turning to a steppe. As we leave the regional center of Kuchum, the landscape changes. The river Kuchum is known for the abundance of fish here. The river Kuchum is popular with avid whitewater rafters and fishermen. The Harius fish bites quite well here. By the shore of the Bukhtarma lake, the steppe gets greener, we see more bushes and a little later trees. Gradually, the landscape changes to the mountains and it gets chillier. We have passed the Kaznakovsky Pass, a ferry station, and it will take us 150 kilometers to reach the place. The Kuchum Ridge is a habitat for red deer, roe deer and sometimes elks also come here, but it is difficult to see them here as the area is quite densely populated with people. Therefore, the animals are very cautious. Near the Karajurga spring, we stopped to take a break. On the shore of the lake, there are quite a lot of visitors. The place is popular as a beach and a fishing site. One can catch pike, bream, sahan, saroga, roach and big-mouthed buffalo. In the past, fishermen could catch sturgeon here. While we're making tea, Maxim decides to take a stroll along the creek and suddenly bumps into a number of rock drawings by early people. The ancient artists depicted the fauna of the era they belonged, scenes of hunting and unknown sacred symbols. The images of red deer and ibex are particularly frequent. The red deer still inhabits the shore of the Bukhtarma lake, but ibex were displaced by herds of livestock.
Так, нарисованы здесь козероги, моралы.
Here we can see drawings of ibex, red deer and argali goat, which prove they existed here in the mountain massif in the distant past. And today we don't have red deer, nor do we have argali goat, but we have red deer. Ibex and argali goat became extinct here. Beyond the Bolshnarim settlement start farmers' fields. During the agricultural crisis in the 1990s, the region dwellers managed to save their farming areas from destruction. Slowly but surely, 4 horses transformed to large farms, and today the region produces sunflower oil, fodders, oat, rye and wheat.
Из Курчумского района мы переехали в Katon-Karagaiский район.
From the Kurchum district we have moved to the Katon-Karagai district. The Bukhtarma valley is quite wide, about 20 kilometers. It is densely cultivated with various fodder cultures and sunflowers. It takes another 30 kilometers to get to Katon-Karagai. The landscapes behind the car windows keep changing. Foothills turn to massive mountain ridges with snow caps, and we can see the highest tip of the Sarım-Sakte ridge, Mount Birkutwal. In the regional center of Katon-Karagai, we are met at the office of the national park. We quickly agree on the further plan of the expedition. Our cameramen are included in the census group of the national park. They are supposed to make it to the Archati forestry and together with national park inspectors Nurbolat and Manarbek should follow the horse route along the Tarbagati ridge towards the southern Altai ridge. There, they should check the trail cameras and conduct a visual census of the wild animals. In the Archati settlement, there is a guest house for visitors. It is also possible to rent horses for excursions here. We have moved past the Archati settlement and now are going up towards the cordon of the national park. There, we are meeting with a group of inspectors from the scientific department and the Department of Wild Animals. The expedition goes on from the cordon 8 kilometers from the Archati settlement. We are pleased that in the Archati valley there are almost no mosquitoes and flies. After these insects biting us in Markakul, this place is a sheer heaven and it's chillier here. The path dodges along a small river. The gorges of the Tarbagatai ridge have sharp edges. After rain, the river water level increased significantly and it is hard for the horses to cross the river as the stream is too fast. Now we can see the first wild animals on our way. On the slope, a female ibex is grazing with its 1-year-old goatling. In midsummer, large male Altai ibex migrate to the top of southern Altai ridges, and in October they return to the plateau. Large male ibex have now ascended to the glacier, and below, in the highlands, there are only females with their young left. On our way in the deciduous forest, for a moment, a Siberian musk deer shows up to quickly disappear. We don't have time to videotape the animal. Here are the fresh traces of a Siberian musk deer. This is a female. Female? Do males leave larger traces? Nurbolat says that this waste is left by a female. Our group covers the 4 highland zones in one day, mountain meadow and forest, mountain and forest and tundra meadow ones. Then we rise to the Nival zone. The trail cameras have recorded quite a lot of animals: red deer, bear, ibex, Siberian musk deer, elks, wild boar, roe deer and others. It is getting dark and we stop to spend the night. We have to set a camp. As soon as we have dealt with our odds and ends, we take observation positions. We don't see any ibex, but there are some marmots that are concerned with our presence and emit whistling noise to warn their fellows about the danger. It turns out that they are scared of a female bear with 2 cubs that are approaching their colony. The young female bear is not large, but yet dangerous for the marmots. Once the marmot notices a human from a distance, the chances it will run away from the hazard are high. But if the animal runs into a human in thick canes, for example, the maternal instinct may force this cute animal to be aggressive. The bear is so absorbed in digging the marmots out of their holes that it doesn't look around. The bear is about 200 meters from here. On the following day, our group climbs up a steep slope towards the plateau that is overgrown with pines and cedar around the plateau. This year is not very good for cedar seeds, but we see cedar cones in the upper parts of the trees.
Очень крутой склон, лошадям идти тяжело, но эти удивительные лошадки.
The slope is very steep, and for the horses it is hard to go up these challenging ridges. The surrounding forest is the main treasure of the park. The forests of southern Altai have not been changed much by human activity. They play an important role in saving the soil and river banks, so saving the large slopes from floods. Here we are walking past the last cedar trees and we are almost at the plateau. The path leads us through thick bushes of dwarf birch. Here we have typical tundra vegetation, the realm of ibex. At the plateau, the forests turn to thick bushes of dwarf birch. This is a typical landscape of highland tundra. Now we are at the top of Mount Kuraly. From here, there's a good view of all the surrounding territory from 15 to 20 kilometers. In the west from the point, one can clearly see the two-headed Belukha, the highest mountain in Altai and in the whole Siberia. It is 4,506 meters high. The border between Russia and the Republic of Kazakhstan lies across the peak of the mount. Belukha is very popular with visitors. Every year, thousands of tourists and mountaineers gather on the slopes of the mount. Conquering the peak of the mount is a serious challenge even for experienced mountaineers, and ascending it is considered a significant achievement. The highland plateau is a realm of red deer. The census group notices a few exemplary species of male red deer with excellent large antlers. Red deer, or marau, their local name, are cautious animals, and approaching them without being noticed is hard. But the trail cameras show them and we can see their distinct antlers very well. Nurbolat and Manarbek show us places where they, together with Andrei Tselyshev, set trail cameras that recorded the presence of the snow leopard. Here is the snow leopard's pass. The large cat crossed the southern Altai ridge towards the Tarbagatay ridge last winter, and the trail cameras recorded that. The snow leopard would regularly visit its own area using the same path. At the same place, the camera recorded another unique species from the cat family, the Pallas's cat. The trail cameras reveal the diversity in the local animal species, and now the material needs to be analyzed and systematized in the scientific department. Our census group returns to the Bukhtarma Valley. Along the shore, a group of cranes walk in search of insects. They are so involved that do not notice our cameraman. Being here is a good opportunity to visit a well-known historic site we could not miss. In 8 kilometers from the Birel village, on the banks of the river that has the same name as the village, is an ancient cemetery that consists of 70 kurgans, all of the same size. They revealed unique findings that belong to the nomad noble tribes of the Scythians and Sak epoch, the 4th century AD, a tomb with a large number of items belonging to that culture. The genetic analysis of the biological material allowed archaeologists to replicate the people's appearance and that of animals of that distant past. The resources of the Katon-Karagai National Park for ecotourists are so diverse that the time of our expedition is not enough to explore and show all the natural, historic and natural wealth of southern Altai. We have to hurry to the Listvyaga ridge, where a beautiful lake, Lake Listvyaga, is situated, where